My name is Alex Rosecca, and my partner Jacob Waltz and I successfully took apart an 5th generation iPod, 30 gigabyte. You can see here the screen and casing, flip wheel, motherboard. Screen just slides off here, and the hard drive, back casing, battery, and headphone jack there. And the clip that actually just fell on the ground. But there are a few different engineering, engineering disciplines that have gone into this. Sorry, the motherboard and click wheel and battery, and the headphone jack all would definitely have to do with computer engineering and electrical engineering. There are many electrical components on this, and there are many different connections and parts that go with that. And the battery would probably have to do with some chemical engineering because it's a lithium-ion battery, and that's how they're made. And they have chemicals. And the casing would probably just be mechanical engineering, simple, and the hard drive would be more mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, of course, computer engineering with that. And the screen would definitely be computer engineering, probably some chemical engineering in that because of the chemicals that are inside. So, all of these parts would have to do with research. The screen and casing probably not as much as the rest of it because it's not as complex. There are 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 parts plus the 6 screws that go together. The plastic casing just pops together. So it starts with this silver casing here, and the motherboard is glued on, and the click wheel is attached to the motherboard. And then this is here, and the screen gets put in place and just snapped into the motherboard. And then this is screwed into the faceplate, like so. And then the hard drive is connected to the motherboard, and the battery and headphone jack here, you can see the cables, are connected to the motherboard, and then it is just snapped together. This with the faceplate, you just snap like that, and then you have your iPod re-hooked up and ready to go. The motherboard would have been researched from other applications. Of course, there are motherboards in computers, so we know about them, we know how they work, but it's a small motherboard. It's complex. It has to have the connections in the right spot for the parts to all align correctly and to click in and to hook up, and for it to fit inside the case. That being said, the hard drive also is very specialized. It's small. It doesn't vibrate a lot. You can see this blue foam on it to help with the vibrations, and this these blue plastic sidings to keep it in place. And it can't vibrate a lot, so a lot of testing would have gone into that, and the analysis of it probably to see how much the vibration is and all of those. And the screen has to have been made this small, thin. It has to fit correctly, and it has to have the quality that they want. They would test the quality. They would test the quality of the motherboard. They would test it, the battery. If you drop it, what's going to happen? How many times are you going to be able to drop it before it starts working? And all of this. And they do. Apple is very good about their customer service and their and their technical support, and they have online applications of this. They have phone numbers you can call to ask questions if your iPod stops working. Um, Engineers would all have to do with that, and um, their in-store operations, they can fix anything, and if they're not able to fix it, they'll send you a new one, because it's they test it that rigorously that they believe in their product, and if it's a manufacturing defect, they will fix it. Um, they train their engineers to be able to consult over the phone, and when you come into the store with a problem, they know how to fix it. So that's that. So the parts here, you can see I have one of the connectors. It's very small. This is to connect the hard drive to the motherboard. It's got the gold in it, just connectors, and that would have had to have been engineered, electrical engineering, I'm sure, to test the way the current goes through there, and that it travels through at the way they want it, and that you can bend it because it has to bend so that it doesn't break just by bending it one time. And they have these two little rubber things here which reduce vibrations on a certain part on the motherboard so that they don't break. I've had experiences where I forgot to put those in, and I've tapped it and I've opened it up and they've been broken off. So they've been tested there to make sure that they do their job right and that they keep the motherboard from shaking and from breaking off. And the screen here, you can see, is a little bit worn in. It's a little scratched. I'm sure that they've tested all of that so that they don't just scratch when you run your fingernail across them, and that they can they're a little bit resistant to scratches. Like the back is metal casing, and that has to be resistant as well to scratches, and that's all been tested. And now this has all been put together, and they've been tested by systems engineers to make sure that they comply together and they work correctly the way they want them to, and that that the power is going throughout it in the way that they would like. So when you put it all back together, it's a functioning iPod that's been tested, and that it's specifically designed to be the way it is, and that it all works correctly and functioning. And a lot of thought has gone into this processes, that all of the functions, all of the parts function together properly. So that is a 5th generation 30 gigabyte iPod Touch.